Hi, I'm Toby, I'm 35, and my own body seems to be trying to kill me. A woman sitting in the back of a taxi when she suddenly realises they seem to be going in the wrong direction. Now, with traditional British politeness, she's a bit nervous about speaking up and pointing out the driver's mistake. But, realising she has to do something, she leans forward and quietly says, "Excuse me." The taxi driver suddenly screams, pulls the wheel one direction, swerves the car, pulls back and swerves the other direction while slamming on the brakes. They come to a rest at the side of the road. "Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry," she said. "I didn't realise I would startle you that much." "Oh, it's okay," he said. "It's my fault. It's my first day on the job. For 25 years I drove a hearse." So isn't this exciting? I'm in a different location from usual and it's very pretty here. If I'm pulling some strange faces, it's because I've just been to the ophthalmologist and had some eye drops in, so I actually can't focus on anything right now. This does mean I'm going slightly off script at the moment. Usually I have some notes down here to just remind me what I wanted to say, but at the moment, yes, the notes are there. I can't read a single word of them, so they're not helping very much. So I have no idea what's going to come out of this episode. We shall see. Recently, as I've said, I've been struggling a lot with the fatigue, and that's been no difference over the past couple of weeks since my last video blog. In fact, it's been really quite tough and very frustrating because I've probably spent more time off work than at work, and I hate missing work. And I've actually found myself getting quite frustrated with myself, actually quite angry with myself. And it's difficult to remind myself that, again, as I said before, this is what it is and I can't really do much about that. I just have to take care of myself. So yeah, I do get quite annoyed with myself for not being able to do the things that I would consider normal. One thing I thought I'd talk about today a little bit is synchronicity. This idea that things happen at the same time, making it look like some kind of weird cosmic coincidence. When I was originally diagnosed with autoimmune hepatitis, two other people I knew of were actually diagnosed at exactly the same time. Now I say knew of, one was a friend of mine and the other one was a friend of a friend. But it's very interesting to see that suddenly there were three of us all in the same situation where I'd never even heard of the disorder before. And as time went on, it became clear that our disorders were taking very different paths. I, for the most part at that time, was perfectly well, had very few problems at all. My friend, unfortunately, did struggle a lot, particularly at the start. She got very ill, spent a lot of time in hospital, very jaundiced a lot of the time, ended up losing her job or leaving her job, and ended up spending some time walking around with walking assistants because she was so ill. Luckily, she's recovered and now has a family of her own, and she seems to be doing really well. The friend of a friend, again diagnosed at the same time, seemed to be doing okay, but then suddenly deteriorated and unfortunately passed away. So it's a cold reminder that this disorder is very unpredictable and can affect people in very different ways and at very different times. And in a similar moment of synchronicity, as I've been going through this process of getting ready for a transplant, again, a friend of a friend has actually just had a transplant. She's currently recovering in hospital, and I'm keeping up to date with how she's doing and sending her all my warmest regards. So please do, all of you, send warmest feelings and regards and prayers and whatever you believe in to my friend who's currently fighting to recover from the liver transplant. So I guess the main thing I really wanted to talk about today is diet. And I'm going to take you back a little bit. I was never a thin person. I know, hard to believe, I wasn't always this gorgeous. At my worst, I was 120 kilos and pretty round. And obviously this puts a strain on the liver. You have something called fatty liver disease, which is another cause of liver cirrhosis and liver disease. And if you are overweight and have something like autoimmune hepatitis or another liver disease, those two just kind of combine together and put even more strain on the liver. So my liver consultant after years of telling me, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, you need to lose weight, you're overweight, you're obese, you need to lose weight. And me going, yes, I know, I need to lose weight. I even had a GP. I went in for an assessment with a GP, new GP, and did all the tests and height and weight and blood pressure and blah blah blah. And after all of that, he went, well, I can tell you that you are obese. And I was like, well, yeah, I could have told you that before I walked in the door. Like, I didn't need a GP to tell me that. But I wasn't very good at actually doing anything about it. So my liver consultant said to me, look, it's got to this point where it's serious. Either you lose weight, or we're going to have to look at putting you in for a transplant. You need to lose weight urgently. I was like, okay, you know what? It's kind of serious now. I really need to do something about this. So I started on a diet. None of these fad diets or anything like that. I just started simply. I got an app and tracked my calories for about 2 weeks to see what I was eating. And then I cut that down. And I actually cut it down probably lower than I should have done, but down to about 1,300 calories. Don't try this at home. So every day I was eating 1,300 calories, and that was in August last year. Since then, just through that calorie counting every day, I've dropped 40 kilos, which is a lot of weight. So I go back to my GP, I go back to my liver consultant, I'm like, yeah, I've worked really hard at it. It's all intentional weight loss, it's all been hard work to do, but I'm really proud of what I've done so far. So it puts me on the scale and everything else, blah, 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 and he goes, oh, that's excellent, that's really good, that's great news for your liver, it's gonna make it so much easier for your liver, much easier work for your liver to function day to day. I think now that you're at this healthy point, we need to, as soon as we see anything wrong, we'll put you in for the transplant straight away. Wait, what? You tricked me. I thought the whole point of this was to avoid the transplant, not make me ready for an earlier transplant. So yeah, my liver consultant tricked me, but he tricked me in an ethical way, and actually a way that got me to lose a significant amount of weight. So I'm healthier than I've ever been, I'm lighter than I've ever been, and now I'm struggling with the opposite. After seeing the dietitian in hospital, I now have to make sure I'm eating enough to make sure I don't lose any more weight. I need to hit 3,000 calories per day, and that includes the other limitations of my diet, such as low sodium, which cuts out any crisps, all that kind of junk food, cuts out bread and a lot of the carbs, or at least limits how much I can have, because bread is actually quite high in salt, and all sorts of things. So actually trying to hit 3,000 calories a day was proving very difficult, and I'm kind of getting there, but it is still a bit of a struggle from time to time. And yes, I do have to resort to sweets sometimes, which I both enjoy and don't enjoy, because my teeth are taking a heck of a battering at the moment. I've not eaten sweets for such a long time, but it has been interesting to challenge myself to eat that much in a healthy and balanced way. Oh yes, and a big part of my weight loss eventually was having the ascites drained. I had this fluid build-up in my abdomen that was drained out, and they drained about 11 to 12 kilos of fluid. So I lost 40 kilos in about 10 months, and particularly because I was off school quite a lot, on placement at another school. When I got back, I got some amazing reactions from some of the kids, including, Mr. Berriman, what happened to you? Mr. Berriman, you're not Mr. Berriman anymore. Mr. Berriman, you've changed. However, kids being kids, I still got the honest feedback every now and then, just to keep my ego in check, such as a year 2 girl running up to me randomly, giving me a hug, and then stepping back, tapping me on the stomach and going, big belly, and then walking off. You can't escape the truth. So in terms of diet, I've been trying to prepare as well for the kind of things I have to eat post-transplant. As I've said, low sodium, and there are a few weird things that I found out that apparently I won't be able to eat as well. Grapefruit being one of them. Apparently grapefruit actually interferes with a lot of medication, and can cause underdoses, overdoses, and all sorts of mess with a whole host of medications. You'll have to look them up online because it's quite interesting and surprising. I think I figured out there are about 4 medications that I take that actually I shouldn't have grapefruit with. Another one which caught me by surprise is apparently I can't have Earl Grey tea because that interacts or will interact with some of the medication I will be taking in the future. I can't have rare meat because anything that's rare or undercooked has got a high risk of contamination, so being immunocompromised, I have to avoid those risks. And the same goes for one of my favorite foods, sushi. I'm not allowed sushi anymore. I love sushi. I've even made my own sushi, but unfortunately it's now off the menu, again because of the risk of contamination. All unpasteurized foods, raw eggs, those things are off the menu, and there's a whole host of other things besides that I need to look up again because I have to admit I can't remember it all off the top of my head now. But there's still plenty I can eat, and I do.